Hello. Hi. So this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. I was actually going to live stream it, but when I was thinking about it, I was thinking that I want to say things, and I'm used to live streaming. And I want to say things. I've got like set things that I want to say in this video, and I don't want to get caught off track by live streaming, by the comments that might come in. I really want interaction. And I'm gonna live stream on this subject lots, but I wanted to get a few things said without getting caught off track. I'm probably go off track anyway because that's how my mind works, but I wanted to just get the basics out of what I want to talk about, why I've decided to do this, and why I'm doing it on my personal page, why I'm talking about this on a personal level. I have lots and lots and lots of friends who are business owners and who know me as a business owner. And a lot of this has to do with what I now do for my business in holistic therapies, in healing, energy work, spiritual healing and emotional healing. It is my past, my experiences in my past that have brought me here to this point, and that includes a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in relation to my spiritual experiences and religious experiences in the past. I don't know where this is going to go. I've been being called to do this and talk about this for quite a long time, a lot longer than probably I'm willing to admit to myself. Probably since I went through energy work last year, 2019, and realised that I was here on earth to bring healing. That is really what I'd always wanted to do. It's what I was drawn to do. I always played the healer when we played games. I played at doctors and nurses as a kid lots, and ended up in healthcare. And then had kids and ended up not in healthcare. Didn't do my nursing because I got married and got pregnant, and didn't want to go back into medical healthcare after that, because as I became a mum I began looking at natural, what shall we say, natural remedies, homeopathy, alternatives to like the chemical shitstorm that's in baby products. I decided that I didn't want to go back into that. I researched things like vaccinations and medicines, and decided that I couldn't go back down that route. And eventually, in a very circuitous route, ended up turning to holistic therapies, and really what I want to be doing with my life is helping people who have been through experiences like I have to get through it, get past it, let it go, and embrace their full potential as energy beings, as human beings who have so much more potential than we have ever been led to believe. So, before I go too deep and end up right in, I don't know, the quantum field and God knows what else, energy fields and stuff, I want to talk about the things that I was brought up with that restricted me, that held me back, that lots of other people will relate to, no matter how you've been brought up, what rules and regulations, any religion you might have been brought up with. Most of the basics come from just general mainstream views and opinions and dogma and indoctrination, and a lot of that comes from Christianity or other religions, because I believe the mainstream religions all go back to the similar sorts of teachings. Anyway, so whatever religion you may be have been accustomed to, there is indoctrination in that is basically holding people back from knowing their full potential. So I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness, and I know that I have friends here who knew me as such, who knew me as a child, who knew me as the little girl who didn't celebrate birthdays and didn't celebrate Christmas, who didn't go into assemblies, who didn't sing hymns, and all of that. And I know I now also have a lot of friends who were brought up similarly, who never baptized themselves, or got baptized, chose to be baptized, who never got maybe, well, we'll talk about it, fully brainwashed and indoctrinated. And I also have acquired a number of friends over the years, recent years, who were similarly, whether I knew it or not, also brought up Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is something that I've discovered. I've one or two friends who I knew when I added them as friends on Facebook were Jehovah's Witnesses. I had been brought up Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's what I want to talk about, what that means. How it's indoctrination and how that then ties in with lots of the other indoctrination that goes on for people. How that relates to today, to like what's been going on through 2020 generally, and generally how we as humans have been indoctrinated, taught things that are not necessarily correct, but then what is, and what can we possibly do to find out? Well, actually, I don't know. It's my belief now, from what I know, what I've learned, what I've taught and researched and seen over the course of the last maybe 10 years or so, that nothing that we've been brought up to believe is true. The history is not true. It all amounts to being history, really. What we were taught at school was not true. Science is not true, and we're only just now scratching the surface of possibilities of what may be true. I'm aware that what I'm going to say or what I'm going to talk about may be controversial eventually. Probably not in this video. I don't want to be here all night. It may be triggery if you believe in God and in religion, and I literally have nothing against any person who believes in something greater or higher. I have no, if you are overjoyed and excited and love your religious life, I love that you love your religious life. If you feel whole and complete and ecstatic and excited and love your life, and you believe in God and you're religious and you go to church, then I love that for you. I absolutely love that for you, because we should feel expansive when we believe whatever it is that we want to believe. We should not feel small, insignificant, I'm trying to think of the right word, undeserving. Don't think undeserving is a word. Undeserving, wrong. We just should not feel small or buried under fear of what might happen if we don't follow the rules, and all of that. I want to talk about Jehovah's Witnesses because that's what I knew, that's what I grew up with, and Christianity because, again, that's what I know, that's what I grew up with. So Jehovah's Witnesses are a organisation. They are a corporation, not a religion, really. registered in England as a charity and causing all sorts of bother by being such. They are based in America, and were, I believe, originally connected to the Seventh-day Adventists. I've read the history as written by Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's a long time ago now and it's a bit vague, but I think it was the Seventh-day Adventists. What I know now is that a lot of their connections were very high up. They're just a corporation. They have this governing body of men who write the rules, I guess, who decide what's going to be in the literature. It's very, when you leave, it's very, you become more aware. If you leave and you're then not indoctrinated by whatever else is going on in the world, then you become very aware of the manipulative language used in the things that they have. I'm gonna just put a little thingy in here because I want to talk about this freely, but I am consciously aware that my dad, who I love dearly, is still very, very much in the organisation. He is very much still one of Jehovah's Witnesses. He believes it. We'll talk about what that is in a minute, what it is that they believe, particularly now in 2020. Not that I really know what they actually are being taught now, but I can hazard a guess from what I do know, that they are, I am consciously aware, and that's why I've been a little hesitant to do this. That's why it's probably over a year since I was like, I need to come out with all this, and I haven't done, because I know nothing that you put on the internet is private. I know that there is every chance and every likelihood that something that I say may get back to him. Something that I share may get back to him. And he's not entirely aware of my spiritual inclinations. And we'll talk about why that's an issue. So, this is for those people out there who may decide that this is a good idea to talk to my dad about, or share with my dad, or show my dad. If you do so, you are responsible for the effect it may have on him. You are responsible for knowing that this may hurt him. I share with him what I can and what I'm willing to, and I know my dad the best, and while I truly and strongly desire to tell him everything that I believe about Jehovah's Witnesses, about spirituality, about higher states of consciousness, I bide my time. And if somebody out there decides that, I'll just show this to him and upset him, then that's on your head, not on mine. Because I'm doing the best that I can to share what I want with my dad when I want to do it. So with that in mind, where was I up to? So yes, Jehovah's Witnesses are a corporation. They're a Christian religious organisation who believe the basics of Christianity, as in God, Jesus, angels, that might be it. Okay, so where they differ from other known Christian religions is things like they don't believe in heaven and hell, which on the surface I didn't believe that I was a bad girl, I was going to go to hell. No, worse than that. Worse than that, if I was a bad girl, I would not only be excommunicated from the church, or disfellowshipped as they like to call it, but I would just die and be dead forever. And that's the end. So that's what they believe about death for everybody except a select few. That when you die, that's it, you die. Your consciousness leaves you, your soul leaves you, your soul is you, and that is it. You die and you're gone forever. So if you are not a Jehovah's Witness, that's it. You are likely to be resurrected in the last day, or after Judgment Day, or after Armageddon, whatever, and be and then have a chance again to be a Jehovah's Witness, and then potentially then get to live forever on earth as a paradise. Okay. The way that this is put out there is like, this is hopeful, and this is, it's classic manipulation, it's classic brainwashing, because it's started, if you're brought up with it as a child, Jehovah's Witness child, you were brought up to with going to all of the meetings where you hear the same things over and over again. That is how brainwashing starts. That is how the mainstream media work. That is how television works. That is how school works. You are literally told the same things over and over again, and you're not taught to critically think. In fact, as a Jehovah's Witness, if you want to go and look at something that's not their literature, you'll be strongly advised against it, especially if it is in any way, shape or form going to discuss their religion, and it's not written by them. Anybody who's come out and has wanted to write any books, anyone who's come out and has written books, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you want to read one of them books, they will tell you not to. They will do all the research for you. They will read all the documents for you, and they will tell you how to interpret them, how to think, how to believe, and everything. And that's fundamentally it. You get to read their stuff, and they write literature on religious holidays. They write literature, and it includes things on how astrology or divination practices and things may have been used in the past. But all of that comes from the opposition of God, as in the devil. And the devil is then using it to manipulate everybody or to corrupt everybody, and that's how they create fear. They make you afraid of this entity, or these entities, the devil and the demons, that if you even do something like meditate, you're opening up your mind for the demons to come in. What I now know in relation to the entities that may be what could be classed as demonic forces is that they thrive on fear, and that they get access to humans by the humans living in fear. So anyone who's had a terrifying demonic experience has probably been terrified and is living in a vibrational state of fear, and these, whatever they are, these entities, these creatures that can get into a body that's fearful, can get in. If you're living in a state of a higher vibrational state and you're not living in fear, then they can't get into you. And what Jehovah's Witnesses and a lot of other religions do very cleverly is make you afraid of them, but then they'll save you. So you're afraid of the dark forces, but then they'll save you because they come along and they, in the name of God, banish whatever it is. And that raises your vibration, that makes you feel better, and the entities that are darker can't stay there, and so they go. Until next time. So it's only recently that I've learned more about that, and so feel that it's another thing that I can explain. But again, that goes again for any religion that teaches that there's evil forces out there that can get into humans, and that'll be how they're then banished and whatever. But the other things that are in other religions or in the past that were like demonic possession were things that are now seen as mental health conditions, psychic abilities, things like epilepsy and stuff like that as well. So by creating this fear of the bad, they then stop you from pursuing that which can help you tap into better feelings. Religion generally keeps people stuck in a poverty mindset, in a lack mindset, in this idea of staying. God blesses you. So this is the thing that was massive for me, that God blesses you when you are being a good person, when you are obeying the rules as laid out by the Ten Commandments or Jesus or the Bible or whatever, that God blesses you when you're doing that. And when you break those rules, then he removes his blessing from you, and you are not worthy. You are not worthy of blessings and of good things happening to you because you're not following the rules. So again, this is when you have been brought up specifically, in my case, as a Jehovah's Witness, and you choose to leave. And it's as religious cults go, it's actually quite easy to leave, in that you're not like made to stay. There's not like, they don't drag you back kicking and screaming. There's nothing like that. However, when you leave, there's a couple of options for leaving. You can do what I did, which was just like stop going to any of the meetings, the religious meetings, stop attending, stop being seen, stop being active, and just kind of disappear. Moving areas is good for that one. You can break the rules and then go and confess your sins, but not want to go back to following their rules, and then they excommunicate you or they disfellowship you. And that is, as punishments go, from my experience of those who I know who've been through that, it's horrible. I don't even know, there isn't a word strong enough for it. It basically means that you can't see your family if they're still witnesses. Every friend that you've ever had. So imagine a child who's brought up, gets to like 18, 19, gets married because that's the only way you can have sex. Marries the first person who's shown them any sort of attention, and then realises that person's manipulative or horrible, comes into contact with more people who are worldly. So that's anyone who's not a Jehovah's Witness is worldly. Comes into contact with those people, realises, as I did, that there are a lot more nice people out there than you're led to believe when you're a Jehovah's Witness. I do remember being told that The worst Jehovah's Witness is better than the best worldly person. Bearing in mind that this is a religion that covers up child abuse, that it can have domestic abuse going on, that basically the worst people like that are better than the best people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you then are out doing them, obviously they're trying to encourage you to throw yourself into their work voluntarily, I will add, and not go off and pursue a career or do anything that will then put you in the realms of seeing more people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses. Very clever, really, because then if you are seeing more people, you realise that there's a lot of good people in the world, and there's a lot of people in the world doing a lot of good things for other people and for you. And then you meet somebody who's kind and gentle and nice, and you're in this abusive relationship, and you then fall in love with that person, and the only way out then is to, as soon as you, within their ideas, even if you were to not sleep with the new person and to get a divorce, as soon as you did, you'd still technically still married to that other person anyway. And then when you sleep with you even if you didn't sleep with that person, got a divorce, got married to this person and only slept with them after you married this person, you'd still be committing adultery, and therefore, because you still technically married, unless you have sex with this person, you are not committing adultery. So you're not free to scripturally divorce this person. So then, having despite done everything like right, you're then married to this person, then you sleep with them, then they'll disfellowship you for marrying this person, and then you're cut off from everybody. So you've never had any friends except, the people that you are meeting maybe and working with, and so then you have no friends, cut off, no friends, no family. Everything that you've ever known is gone and ripped away from you. Most people wouldn't actually wait and get married to this person, and so would be classed as having committed adultery long before then, and so would already have been disfellowshipped. So that's it. You're cut off from everybody and everything that you are. It's all you've ever known. You may be now limited to 5 or 6 friends, from having literally hundreds, because that's what organised religion is good for. It's good for, say you've got 100 people in the congregation and they have gatherings where there's thousands of people, and when they have this whole idea of this united worldwide brotherhood, which looks idyllic and promising, and that's how they play on it, and then you've now got nothing. That's a mental health fuck up. That is an emotional health fuck up, and you can't connect to God anymore because you're no longer a Jehovah's Witness. That's a spiritual health fuck up, and that's when you're screwed. That is where these people who have left, these people who now ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, are then so screwed up in the head that they don't know what else to do. From my point of view, I know more people who've committed suicide after having left being a Jehovah's Witness than I know have committed suicide from anything else. Since I work with mental and emotional health now, I know why. I understand how the mental health stuff works. I have struggled with my own mental health as a result of this. I have been in that place of, I have nothing good is ever going to happen to me again, even though I was a good girl. So for anyone who doesn't know my circumstances, I was brought up Jehovah's Witness. I was baptised when I was 15. I lived in Manchester. We moved to Cumbria when I was 15. That kind of got me out of any possibility then of having not got baptised. Because when I moved to Cumbria, I was made to feel like I had hope then of prospects, because I did then decide that I wanted to do the ministry work. I wanted to do that. I was looked after, and because I do have a strong belief in something greater than me. I believed in God. I would ask for help and would receive help because I have a strong belief, and I was more than happy and content at 15. I never felt like I missed Christmas and birthdays. We were looked after. I was well looked after. Certain other aspects of my upbringing, which were probably perpetuated by the religion, caused me some issues, which I might talk about now or later. But generally speaking, I was well looked after. I was not in a especially abusive family. My family cared for me dearly. The mainstream parenting issues that did affect my mental health could have happened regardless of the religion. They weren't specific to the religion. They were quite specific to the time period, the late 70s. And I don't for 1 minute blame my parents my mum for how she trained me on the religion. Which is why I'm not bringing that into this. So, but there was always this: if you're not good, then God is going to punish you, or God is going to remove his approval of you. It's more of that, actually. It's not that God, because he's not, because they don't teach a hellfire, you're not punished for disobeying, but you are not blessed for disobeying. So at 15, I was baptised. I truly believed it, and I went preaching, knocking on doors. Didn't like it. I was what they call a pioneer, where you dedicate. Well, when I started, 90 hours a month, but they did drop it to 70, yeah. That amount of time a month to trying to convert other people. Never felt comfortable with it. It prepared me for a lot of things. It prepared me for how I talk on my live streams. It prepared me for discussing things that I feel confident about, but I actually would go, and if I could get away with not speaking to people, then I would not speak to people. I like to talk to people about their family, their life, what they were doing, and I could talk to, if someone was willing to talk about that, I could stand and talk to people like that for quite a long time. But if it came to preaching the religion at people, I couldn't do that very well. I now know why. I now know it's because I was not actually entirely indoctrinated, and that there was aspects of my soul keeping me safe. At 17, I met my now husband. 17. At 18, just before I was 18, we started going out. There were issues with him not wanting to, he was afraid of marriage because of his own family dynamic situation. And what happens if you're courting, as they like to still call it, I think they still call it that, if you were going out with someone and there were no signs of getting married, then you would be hassled, because if you're not going to get married, you're putting yourselves in these awkward situations of being alone, and what happens if you have sex. So Chris and I went out for a period of about 2 years, and then we split up over one of this. Again, they were hassling him for why he wasn't asking me to marry him yet and stuff like that. And then we split up for a short period of time and tried to be in a relationship with someone else who I wasn't good enough for them, for their parents, not for them, but for their parents. And that was ended by the parents, not by me and the person. It was quite brief. And that broke me apart a little too. And I then decided that I would move to Manchester. When moving to Manchester, I was thrown back into seeing Chris, because Chris happened to be the best friend of my brother-in-law, and eventually it was inevitable that we would end up back together. We ended up back together unmarried for a very long time. I don't even know. The pressure was constantly there. There was more to our relationship than just going out for quite a long time. We were not disfellowshipped because we went to the elders and we confessed, and because I wasn't pregnant, so there was no proof of what we'd done, we were privately disciplined, I guess, for having been oh so naughty. So and then I was done then, because we did try to keep the relationship going. I did actually at one point say, let's just fuck it all off and let's just move in together. He wasn't game. And eventually he left Cumbria and I was going to stay. And then he didn't like the fact that then we were definitely over. And after travelling in Europe for a little while, he came back and he asked me to go to Manchester. And I said the only way I was going to Manchester is if we would end up married. Fortunately, we both were then able to leave in this way I described earlier, where you sort of stop going to the meetings and you whatever. We moved in together after a year or so of me being back in Manchester, and after a year of living together, my parents accepted that under the circumstances, because I had nowhere else to live. I did live with a friend for a period of time first, and then I'd left there and had gone to live in the hospitals. I worked in North Manchester General Hospital and worked for the NHS, so I lived in the nurses' accommodation for a short period of time. And my parents just were like, oh, and I was like, yeah, well, we are going to get married. And they sort of accepted the inevitability that we were. It took me a long time to tell them. It took me about 5 months to tell them. And I think I might have actually told them after we were engaged. Actually, I think might have definitely got engaged and be setting a date. And then, and I'm not entirely sure how many people knew that we were living together. I'm not even sure, actually, how many people knew we were living together. Consequently, his parents wouldn't come to our wedding because we'd been living in sin. That caused a whole load of issues with their family dynamics, which are not mine to tell. But that effect is something that my children have to cope with, because their grandparents don't want to see them, even though none of them were born before we got married. So, and then we got married and then we had children. But we'd left a good 18 months to 2 years before we got married. That's my story in relation to being a witness and leaving. I had this experience of, I would never done anything wrong. I maybe been drunk twice. I did smoke, because that's also something you can't do. I'm thinking how many times I've been drunk before as a Jehovah's Witness. I think it actually might have been once. I smoked about 5 cigarettes. I never slept with anybody else. I was barely in a relationship with anybody else. I was a good little Jehovah's Witness. I was a pioneer. I was so virtuous. And then when I left, that meant that even though I truly felt like my interpretation of God and of scripture and of what God was meant that he didn't actually hate me. He didn't actually think I was a bad, evil person. But the brainwashing is so there that you think that is it. That is it. You are such a bad person. Coupled with the punishment of me as a child, that I was not good enough to be in any way, shape or form successful. And this is why I say that this all unravelled last year, because when I went through the emotional energy clearing work that I went through last year, we unravelled all this and we collapsed all this and we disintegrated all this, and I began to see that actually I was entirely worthy of success and of happiness and of having blessings, because that's how you generally see them as a religious person, in my life, despite not belonging to this particular religion. And I know that other people in other religions suffer the same subconscious and unconscious manipulation when they choose to leave the religion. So wherever and however you may have been taught to believe in God, that can overhang you. And I think, given that for a great long deal of time, being brought up in Catholicism or in the Church of England or in any other sort of mainstream religion that teaches you that if you forsake God, you are doomed to hell or to some other alternative eternal punishment, that is going to be, even if you leave and you consider yourself atheist, or you consider yourself agnostic, or you consider yourself not a believer in God at all, even though maybe you still think it exists, then the effect that is having on your subconscious mind is that you think you are not good enough. You think you're not worthy. You think that good things can't happen to you. If good things happen to you, they're inevitably going to be taken away, because the blessings are taken away because you don't believe. And even if you think that you've done that and cleared that shit, because it's ingrained in you, or it comes from the past, so sort of like your past life experiences, other people, your like parents genetically, your parents, grandparents, whatever, then that is something that you are carrying around in you as a unconscious awareness. And this is where clearing that out and getting that out of your energy field makes a massive difference. The only reason why I've never done this before and not done this until now is purely because of my dad. If my dad wasn't alive, I'd have done this a lot sooner. But I've always been consciously aware of, if Davina starts talking about spirituality, about what I now believe about spiritual consciousness, if I begin to talk about Jehovah's Witnesses with the knowledge that I have about them, that it might get back to my dad and it would be hurtful to him. But I cannot keep quiet any longer. I know people that are struggling and suffering on some level, either massively on a mental and emotional level because of it, or unconsciously because they're still battling these energy beliefs that I'm not good enough, I've left religion, I don't believe in God, and my blessings are gone, I can't get through this and past this. And I have the tools to help. I have the means, the information, and the desire to help people get rid of that, because we deserve so much better. We deserve so much better. And the pull has been strong for me to do this for a big chunk of this year. Today being solstice, being December the 21st, there being this massive conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn, and I cannot keep being this scared, afraid little girl who doesn't want to upset people, but who knows how to help people. I cannot be true to myself and true to my soul if I don't start helping people. That's why I'm here. That's why I came to Earth. That's why I'm here now. That's why I have fought tooth and nail through 2020 to help people see this is manipulation. Everything that has been going on through 2020 is manipulating people. It is indoctrination. It is telling people what they should think and what they should believe and what they should do. And that is what I can't stand, and that is why I've been passionate, and that is why I've caused hell for people and with people and said things about what is going on, because, and I know so many others like me, so many others who've broke free from all kinds of other religious denominations who feel the same way, because we cannot keep quiet any longer. We cannot hide our lights any longer, because this is wrong. This is wrong. We are human beings. We have rights. We have free will. We have choices. We can create amazing, magical things for ourselves. But if we have those powers taken away from us, if we don't believe that that exists, if we don't believe that that is a real thing, if we don't believe, then the people trying to control us are winning every single day. Every single day that we choose not to do what is right in our heart, be that walk down the street, be that see our family, be that hug our friends, be that walk into the supermarket without a mask on. If you feel in your heart that a thing is wrong and yet you're still listening to somebody telling you to do it, you're never ever going to heal your relationship with yourself. And from there, heal your relationship with everybody and everything. And that's why I'm here. That's why I feel called to share this message. This is why I feel called to start talking about this more. That is why I recorded this video and didn't do it live, because I wanted to get those things out. I wanted to talk about how I feel I have an authority to talk on this, how I feel I have the experience to help others break free from whatever it is that's making them feel stuck. And this isn't about my work and my business. as much as it is, because it's what I do in my work and my business, but it's about my personal experiences. And it's about how I can help people, irrespective of whether I'm doing it as a holistic therapist or whether I'm doing it as a friend or how I am doing it. I have this experience, this knowledge, and this innate desire to help other people learn about their innate abilities to explore their full potential. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing this on this as from a personal point of view and not from a business perspective, and why I'm going to come and talk and interact with them, the people who feel the same and who relate the same. I want to talk about this more. I want to share this more, because we all deserve better. Whether we want to break free from religion, whether we want to feel free as citizens, whether we want to feel free to explore our creativity or put ourselves out into the world, and yet we're stuck. That's what I teach within my business, is being free to explore what it is that you really truly want to do without the burdens and the labels and the blocks that are put upon you by society in general, saying you can't make money doing that, or that's not a real living. It's why we home educated, was so that, because whatever it is that our children want to do with their lives, we want them to know that they can have a successful life doing it, irrespective of whether they are artistic, creative, whether they want to go into something like, God forbid, medical healthcare, or law. That they can find their passion and their drive and follow that. And that is what real freedom is. That is what we should be able to do. And as we move into 2021, and as we move into the golden age of Aquarius, just to like throw that in there, that's what we'll get to do more and more of. Explore our creative nature as human beings at our full potential and put that out there, even if it's terrifying. Even if we think that we're not good enough, because we get to be able to be blessed and to be successful and to have whatever it is that we really long for in our hearts, irrespective of anything that the past has told us has to be. And that's it. I've not quite gone on for an hour. If you've watched this, I'd just love to know what you liked about it, what you've been able to relate to, whether or not you were a Jehovah's Witness. If you've got any questions, I'd love to answer questions. And I will come on live. The next time I speak about this, I will do it live. I hope it is this coming week, but it's Christmas and I have 2 birthdays in the next 2 weeks too. And I may just not get around to coming back on because I am also doing work stuff as well. So, but I would absolutely love to know what your thoughts are on anything that I've said, from either a religious upbringing, if you spiritual. I want to come in and talk about spirituality and why I am looking at embracing this term spiritual healer, because as a Jehovah's Witness we were discouraged from doing anything but praying to God, from doing anything but reading the Bible, reading any spiritual texts other than the Bible. And what I've learned from doing that, from like breaking those rules, is that meditation is so incredibly powerful and so wonderful, that consciousness that is beyond our physical mind is so powerful, that the angels are more than just God's helpers, but there are helpers, that the angels are there for us, that there's more than just angel beings out there helping us, and that there's so much more. And that's why suddenly one day it occurred to me that my spiritual healing was the missing key to my unlocking my more of my full potential. I'm not even close to being at my full potential, but the spiritual healing, the being able to connect to source, creative source, and being able to meditate freely without being afraid that the devil's going to get in my head, was massive. And that was the tipping point on my journey. And yet so many people are so afraid to connect in that way to literally the higher parts of ourselves, our soul parts, because that's what, it's not just Jehovah's Witnesses who say that when you meditate you're allowing place for the devil. That's another Christian fundamentalist teaching, and probably other religious fundamental teaching, and that we just get to be so much more when we heal these spiritual wounds that have been caused to us and dealt to us. And the fact that religion has caused so much more upset on so many other levels, and to help people release that and break through that and not feel like the only way out is to end their life, or to go back into a religion that is hurting them and harming them, and to know that there is hope out there, and then from that peace and contentment that they can get through connecting spiritually. And then obviously the massive part of my work is the emotional healing. So, and I think that those two are way more important than physical healing. Way more important than physical healing. Physical healing comes when that healing has been done. And I'm going to go because my memory's low on my phone and it's cut out once. But do let me know what you think, and I will be back live streaming next time to talk way more on this. Thank you for watching, and do let me know what you think. Bye.